you hear it. Okay. This is it, all right. Good seeing you again, kiddo.
Busy. So, um.
Okay. Hello. Department on Aging Advisory Board meeting is hereby called to order. This is July 23rd. Now we're doing a roll call.
Carol Zawacki,
Here.
Gloria Bortnicek, Russ Amo,
Here.
Jeff DeCenzo, Bert Fenby,
Here.
Ralph Tillotson, Carol Bolton, Chris Peoples, Alan Dickerson,
Here.
Julie Hackett, Rob Trevino,
Here.
Julie Weatherby, Kathy Burr, David Ungst,
Here.
All right. We did miss last month's meeting. We have more than enough tonight, so today, so we'll move on. We'll approve the minutes from, what would that be, May, right? Yeah. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of May 28th, 2026.
Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, motion passed. Oh, we're right to the presentation. Hello, Amy, how are you?
Good. I hope this is on. Okay. I brought our van back with us. You can see it up on the screen, but it is out here in the parking lot as well. The van, as you can tell, was donated by Wellwise Services with a grant from the Consumers Energy Foundation, and has been very helpful. We are using that not just for medical rides, but with an additional grant we're able to transport people that are in wheelchairs to things that are not medical. And some of the examples I can give you that we've done, we've taken someone to drop off tax documents, to visit at the Secretary of State's office, taking their paperwork to DHHS. We also took someone to a funeral visitation for a good friend, and also to visit a family member that was on hospice care and they wanted to say their last goodbye. So some great things that those people might not have been able to do without having transportation available for them. So it's very helpful. Right now, the van has just over 3,500 miles on it, and almost 1,500 of those have been used for non-medical transports. We've done 109 non-medical rides altogether, and that's not just in the van, because we do also transport some Daybreak clients with that non-medical grant. But we have provided service to 7 separate individuals just since we've acquired that van. So it has been very helpful. Can I answer any questions anyone has about the qualifications for using that?
This is a ramp.
It is a ramp. It is not a lift, so we do limit those that are in a push type wheelchair. We limit their weight to 225 pounds only because that's a lot of weight to push up a ramp. If they are over that, they just have to have a caregiver with them that will take care of loading them.
I had a couple questions.
Sure.
So who are the drivers and then do you have enough drivers?
That is a very good question. We do not have enough drivers. There is currently an opening posted for a position, but they are paid staff members. They work not more than 19 hours a week. But, so we do kind of spread that out between the two, that's between the two vans that we have, the previous van and this one. We currently have 2 drivers and a backup driver, but we do have a position available for a third driver that could do up to 19 hours a week. They do not have to have a chauffeur's license. They just need a valid driver's license and proof of insurance and pass a background check.
Question, what are your service hours?
The van is available 8 to 4:30. My drivers can pick people up no earlier than 8, and they must have them back to their home by 4:30.
Weekday?
Monday through Friday.
Casey, go ahead.
I parked next to it downstairs,
Yes,
and that's a really awesome looking van. I love the logo on the side. It makes it very, very noticeable.
it does stand out, and we have Wellwise designed that. So
Yeah, that's really great. Now, you said that it's used for non-medical, but is it,
it is used for both.
okay.
used for
both
medical and
medical
non-medical.
non-medical?
All rides have to be scheduled in advance because I do just have a couple of drivers for it, and availability. I have close to 20 to 25 regular wheelchair clients that call in rides. So they just have to make sure that they are picking a day that we're available.
Is there a cost for the clients?
It works just like our other services as a donation, just like our other transports. It's a suggested 50 cents per mile donation.
Okay.
I had a question, Russ.
Certainly.
So the use of this van is replacing what? And by that, I mean, before the van, how did the people get to these appointments?
On their own. I mean, it's a new service that we had the other van for the medical appointments, but for non-medical, there wasn't an option other than, using the bus.
Okay,
Or privately paying. I do have a couple out in Onstead that has used us. And when we're not available, they do pay privately for a vehicle, but it is very expensive, they have told me.
thank you.
Do other counties across Michigan have Department on Aging that have these as well, or are we more fortunate to have one?
I think we're pretty fortunate. Hillsdale has a twin to this van that Wellwise purchased for them as well. But I don't believe that there are any other programs like this in the state. Gary can correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know of any. Do you, Julie?
No, I don't know of any. Transportation is a challenge all around the state.
There is medical with that. You don't do anything with dialysis patients, do you?
We do transport dialysis patients. I actually have a regular wheelchair dialysis patient that we take every Tuesday and Thursday.
And then they have a Saturday?
We don't transport on Saturdays,
Yeah.
but the client has an arrangement with LPTA
Okay.
to transport them on Saturdays.
Mhm.
We do work kind of close with LPTA on things that either they can't cover that I can, or vice versa. I make referrals to them and they make referrals to me.
Does everybody know Amy? We didn't do an introduction, I don't think.
Some people know me better than others.
Amy is our transportation coordinator. So she's the key person in court. She calls it Tetris, scheduling people with rides and matching up driver schedules and things like that. Amy touched on it, but to be clear, these rides are for individuals that are dependent on a wheelchair. When we expand that, it is expanded for individuals that are dependent on a wheelchair. In our fantasy world, we would love to be able to offer that further. And we continue to have lots of conversations about what that would look like and how we would manage that. Of course, that would mean increasing Amy's army of drivers, possibly by tenfold, but
Volunteers are hard to come by
mhm.
since the pandemic. I am up to, I think, 26 right now, volunteers, but nowhere near the 40 plus that I had before the pandemic. So it is still a work in progress, but we're making do, and very rarely do I have to call someone and say we can't cover their ride.
And as she said, we do have an opening for a driver. It is a very part-time position. It's usually just a couple of days a week, a couple hours a day, depending on what that ride schedule might look like. But we'd welcome anyone that might be interested in doing that.
Okay.
They're usually consistent days, so if anybody's asking,
Yeah, we try to keep it to, it would be, I want to say Tuesday, Thursday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I can't remember which I was doing, but it would be about 3 days, no more than 3 days a week typically, up to 19 hours maximum. And they just need to be physically able to hook someone in to the van, to load the wheelchair, get down and buckle it in and everything. So there's a little bit of a physical aspect. But one of the guys that drives it right now is 87 years old and still doing a great job. So age is not a limit on that.
the last thing I wanted to share is Amy alluded to or shared that this came to us through officially a grant through Consumers Energy. That vision came actually from Julie and her team. So thank you, Julie, for having a vision of bringing something to our communities that are beneficial. And when she did that and the grant came through, hoping to do this both for Hillsdale and Lenawee, the grant didn't cover both vehicles. So Wellwise Board generously offered to match that or fill in the hole, I guess. I don't know what the difference was, in order for both of us to have that free of charge to us. So the purchase of the van, the wrapping, all of that was part of their gift to us. So without that, we would definitely not be able to be doing this. And so it has been a journey to get here, hasn't it, Julie? But a well worth it, and we appreciate that. Thank you, Julie, for a lot for that.
And it's running good too, right?
What's that?
It's now running good?
It is running fine.
Okay.
Running was ever an issue with it. We had a few other hiccups, but I think we're past
All
that.
right. Thank you. We'll start. Director's reports up.
I have a lot today. In fact, there will be some pieces I'm going to ask for your support in. First sharing, Daybreak had a surprise visit from the state of Michigan in May. I think I might have shared that with you before. Just wanted to let you know that the findings have come back and they had great reviews. So that was a big plus. They also have recently had their review from Community Mental Health, and that came back with glowing reports as well. So we're glad for that. I'm hoping that you've already marked your calendar for March 28th. It's Let's Make a Deal at the band shell at the fair for Senior Day. The Department of Aging is hosting our own version of Let's Make a Deal. I'll be sure to tell you that the prizes are fun and engaging, but definitely not life-changing. So, we're looking for participants.
What's the
Well,
date and time?
the 28th,
28th.
Tuesday of July,
July.
next week
That's what I heard too.
at 1 o'clock.
It'll be cold.
1 o'clock.
And if I said that, it's very possible. But anybody is welcome to come and sign up and we'll draw names for participants. So it should be fun. Should be a fun time. Something different than our Family Feud we've done the last few years. Our senior centers have been planning lots of activities. Summer picnics and outings have or will be occurring in the next month or so. The foster grandparent program has had 2 individuals in the last month inquire about the program. Woo-hoo! A much needed inspiration for our group. The next piece I'm going to share is really talking about the finances and the budget. So I'm going to point you in the direction of our highlight sheet. I got to get the right one because I have several here. We have, I think we sent you both June and May since we didn't have a meeting. And it's important to note that on June 1st, we did have our millage distribution. So we're a slightly less offsetting on the bottom than we have been in the past. At the end of June, we were still at 61% use of our budget, which is a pretty good place to be with 75% of our year passed. I don't know that I have any other additional things to point out on either of these. We did add a note in May that our volunteers, we had 407 volunteers recognized through our annual events at all the centers. So that was a good thing. That seems like a small number compared to the number we know are doing things. Any questions about numbers or what things look like there? What I want to draw your attention to next is curbside.
Hold on, Alan, did you have a question? I
Sorry.
saw you reaching, so.
Was, but I was just curious going in. You're talking about June of 26, correct? Or are you
Yeah.
talking about 27's budget?
I haven't even talked about 27's budget. Yep.
I'll
Nope.
hold my question. then.
Yep, we will get there. What I want to point out is curbside meals. You will notice that in the month of June, we had 481 curbside meals used. To give you a picture, in June of 2024, we had 1,199. In June of 25, we had 1,163 in that same month. And in June of 26, we're down to 481. We've had discussions over the last year as a staff, noting that we felt the difference. When we decided to add curbside as a line item to our budget was maybe in 22. And that was because if we continued to serve curbside, which we saw a need for at the time, it would have to be under our home delivered meal program, which meant each individual that attended or utilized even one curbside meal had to have an in-home assessment. That would have meant that we would have to have additional staff time. It changes the relationship of those who wanted or needed to use curbside. And so we as a department and you as a board had a conversation and opted to add a line item to our budget that separated curbside out and only used millage funds to support that. We have the same recommended donation piece for curbside that we have for every other piece of what we have, but it required us then to keep track of all those numbers separately and all of those funds separately so as not to commingle with either home delivered or congregate meals. With that significant reduction that we noticed, we started asking center directors, how were people really utilizing that curbside? And the things that came back from that conversation were things like, well, most people are coming into the center, even if they're coming in to pick up a meal. Only Adrian physically has a drive-through option any longer because that's the only one that had enough volume for it to be worthwhile to have it manned, shall we say. All the rest of those are individuals who are physically walking into the building to pick up a meal. The second piece of that is the people that are driving through are typically individuals who on other days are coming into the center. It's a convenience. It's, related to McDonald's. I can drive through and I can take it home and eat, or I can go into the restaurant and sit down and eat. And so what we're finding is that a number of those individuals are using it as a convenience. I'll pick it up and go home. I'll pick it up because I've finished, an appointment and I just I'm done for the day, whatever that looks like. And so what we're requesting is support in eliminating that as a line item and eliminating curbside meals for the next fiscal year. So this wouldn't start till October. We recognize there will be some individuals that we will have to be creative in how do we support them, but those are fewer than more. And what will happen is that we'll reduce our time in counting money separately and organizing those. The kitchen will no longer have to pre-package. Those curbside meals are all pre-packaged, so they're ready to go. So that's a supply issue. That's a packing issue for us. That will be reduced. It's a time issue for certainly the Adrian Center that has to take staff time to man that curbside. So what we're hoping for is that you would help support us in removing that as an option for our services for fiscal year 2027. That was a lot of information.
I have a question or two, but I'll open it up for anybody out here first. Didn't you have a lot of curbside during COVID?
We had a lot of individuals that use curbside for a variety of reasons, but yes, we did have a lot of curbside use.
And were all those people home checked?
No. When the criteria changed, we decided not to follow that criteria.
With that board meeting?
Yep.
So the issue is that has been considerably reduced as far as the demand, because at the time of COVID, we were very much in demand, nobody wanted to come in at that time.
We were much more, yes, much more so.
Okay.
And most every center at that time had an option that they physically drove through. Someone was manning those to.
Jeff, go ahead.
And piggybacking on Russ's question, so that I understand,
Mhm.
prior to COVID, there were no curbside meals?
Correct.
Okay, because I'm a little concerned about the possible blowback on this, but I think we presented as overall, this be a much more efficient way to spend your millage dollars
Correct.
than doing a couple hundred curbside meals a day, and we'll be flexible, as you said,
Mhm.
trying to work out a solution if this is a real problem for you. Okay, so this is not something that's been provided for 30 years and now we're going to drop it.
No, not at all. And there will be moments, opportunities that certain individuals may need to say, hey, can I take my meal today? I need to go. In which case the kitchen will pack it and they will take it. But that's not what we want to be. We're not a restaurant in that aspect. We are a dining experience. The intent is come in, have a meal, have some fellowship, gain some resources.
And second question, not directly related to the issue, but will this cut down on our use of styrofoam or not?
Probably not, because these are packaged meals. These are our Oliver trays that we use for the home delivered meals is how they're packaging these.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yes, KZ.
With the reduction in the curbside meals, have we saw an increase in the walk-ins to have a meal at the center?
Our participation numbers are increasing, yes. Yes.
And the one thing about.
There's a about 400 meal difference between June of. Actually, our site meals look lower too, but I don't believe that to be true. We do know that we have more people coming into the centers.
Okay. And the people that do have the curbside meals that are picked up, are there any that wouldn't be able to come in? I just want to make sure that, you know, those that are utilizing this will be serviced in some way.
We have identified very few that are not able to, and we will absolutely work through those situations to find a solution.
Thank you.
Are you looking for a movement here?
You know, I have lots to share, so maybe let's review a few other pieces, and then at the end, you all can decide what you want to offer or not. How's that?
All right.
Okay. So moving on, you all did get our 2027 draft budget. So some things to note. You know, timing is everything in life, right? The submission for the county budget is due in next Friday, which is July 31st, if my memory is right. This is the year that we have to apply for the Older Americans Act funds through Wellwise. That RFP, or request for proposal, arrived in our mailbox last week. We have taken a look at it, reviewed it. There are some significant differences this year than we've had in the past to request funds for. So dollar amounts were probably flat across. They're just different programs. There are some programs that aren't there for us to apply for. There is a new program that we've not applied for in a long time available to us. And there are some rules and guideline changes affecting some programs. The key ones that are going to be impacted is CHORE, which is not available for us anymore. That was a small grant that we utilized particularly for safety issues with handrails and handheld showers and things like that being our key component that we were able to use. There's a very limited amount that we allocate for any individual of $250. So we're certainly not changing anyone's life with those amounts. So that one is not available. There are some differences happening with our respite programs, both for adult day and in-home. And those are details that I can't share with you yet because I have to internalize and digest and figure out what that really means for us. It's a difference of how we might do some programming, and I'm not sure what that's going to look like yet. I have not had conversations with staff as yet to have their input as to what's going on there. There is a small unmet needs piece that I also is new to us, and I've not dug into what that really means or how we would manage or share that information to determine what that looks like. So those are some things that are impacting us overall in that. Believe it or not, we've taken those numbers and adjusted them into what you have in your hand as that proposed draft budget to the best of our abilities right now so that we could share it with you. We're pretty confident. If we're not exact, we're close enough to know where we're going to land, at least for the time being. You can see across the top what we expect to get and what percentages those are. You'll note that there is contingency that is anticipated could be used. And that will define as to how we go through things. Below is our expenses. And then Becky has divided that out to personnel and non-personnel. Clearly, our personnel expenses are our biggest expense. Just looking at the graph below is a quick and easy way to know that. But what do? We're people serving people. So of course, our people are going to be our greatest expense. Some additional pieces to note about personnel. In 2027, the minimum wage will be raising to $15 an hour. That impacts a core group of our staff. That limit is above what our entry-level staff for home care, kitchen work, daybreak drivers are currently earning. So that will impact us when we look at that personnel piece across the bottom. And of course, some of those benefits also have some increased pieces to them as well. Let me find my note.
So you're saying the minimum wage is going up to 15?
$15.
And when does that start? In January?
Yes. Another thing that we have noted is that there has been increases in center. I'll call it rent use and our center use fees. We have allocated for some computer replacements. We haven't done that in 2 years. So we've carried that over again another year. One of the other budgets that's available to us is disease prevention. That's one of the ones we have not applied for in quite some time. So that's one we're considering as well. I think that's all my notes I needed to share. Happy to answer questions.
Any questions? Yes,
Do you need a motion for either the curbside or for the draft budget?
that's going to be my question, but that's okay.
Yeah, I think offering support for either or both.
Why don't we do the curbside first? I'll need a motion to eliminate the curbside starting in October. Is that correct?
In the new fiscal year.
The new fiscal year. Then we'll go for the motion. I need a second, and then we'll do a discussion if there is any, and then we'll vote. So. Looking for it.
I'll motion.
Motion made. Bert's got the second. Any discussion? None? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, that passes. Now we're on to the budget as presented to us for the 2027 budget. Same thing,
Make a motion, we accept the budget.
okay?
Second.
Got it?
Who was the second on? Oh,
No, not me.
it's Rob.
Okay, now, if there's any questions, that's Jeff.
So this budget represents about a 5.7% increase from last year. So for talking points in the community, is that typical of the last few years?
Yeah.
And then I don't have the we've got this great breakdown in all the different sectors and personnel and non-personnel. This, let's say $300,000 increase, is it mostly personnel, or can you describe it in more detail?
Yes.
Because we'll be asked.
Yes.
Yeah.
A large portion of it is personnel.
Okay.
I have the 26, hang on.
And then my third question, while you're looking at that, is this a process? I'm not familiar exactly with the county process. So is this a process where we request X and they come back and they give us 99.2% of what we requested? Or will we get a yes or no on the whole?
We are not part of the general fund budget. Our funding is our funding.
Okay,
We make it or break it standalone.
okay. But answer my question about it, do we request it and they come back and offer, well, how about this much? Or we're saying this is what we have to have?
The
Are you
county-
telling us we're going to get this much?
I'm telling you, the county we're not part of the general fund.
Okay.
So our funding is all coming from these things. It's more how are we allocating the funding that we get
Okay.
to provide these services. That
You're
makes
saying
sense?
that the revenue is out of our control. We're not requesting revenue. We're taking money that we're getting and then splitting it up.
We are sharing with the county how we intend to do that, correct?
It's millage though, not county.
It is our millage funds, our
Sure.
grant funds.
Okay. And then is this, the first question was this typical 2%, 3%? Have we been getting 3, 4, 5% a year? Is it? And is that 5.7 tied into real estate values going up or what do you think? Actually, our millage doesn't go up with real estate values, does it?
Well, the
There's lots of pieces in there.
Yeah.
Well, the millages go up based off of, or excuse me, the revenues go up based off the CPI, off the millage.
Right.
And that's a maximum of 5%. So whatever that comes, if it comes in less than that, but the max would be 5, even if the CPI is at 7 or 8, like it was a few years ago. So that can it can swing a budget dramatically with that. Does for me.
Correct. But the county anticipates that for us. They've done the outreach and the outlook, and they share with us that anticipated amount that we are utilizing for that number of millage funds.
So we're getting a certain amount on any given property that it can go up, but then also we have new construction, new homes being built here and there. And so, okay.
Yep.
Now, go ahead, Kevin.
I don't know if I can help offer up some insight here.
Go ahead.
So as far as the revenue goes, you have a whole host of different types of revenue coming in, but as far as what we were just talking about, the millage and property values and stuff, we have to guesstimate what we think the revenue is going to be in the next year. So we have already estimated what we believe the revenue is going to be in 2027, based on what we're seeing trending in 2026. You're absolutely correct. The max that the millage or the max that the property values can go up is governed by the CPI or 5%, whichever is less, basically. And we are currently anticipating about a 2.7% increase in values for 2027. And that's based on the trending that we're seeing going on with the CPI. We are also calculating in what we anticipate to be new builds, new construction, add-ons, that sort of thing that will also affect property values. So I think we always try to estimate our revenues conservatively, and I think that the 2.7% increase on property values is that conservative estimate. So that's where I think what Mr. Robicharo was talking about when it comes to the county kind of tells us what that looks like. That's where we are. I also just want to weigh in on the personnel side. Earlier in the year, all of the departments let our office know what expected changes they will see in personnel. And we have just today actually finalized what those are going to look like. And the department heads will know in the very near future if all of the asks that they had will be granted or not. And so those have been determined and what we'll be recommending and uploading into the 2027 budget. We also have an estimate on our health insurance because there's a whole lot of other things that affect personnel, not just wages. The biggest one obviously is our health insurance rates, which went up, I believe, by about 16% last year. And we do not have those estimates quite yet. We won't get those until maybe next month or into September, depending on when our administrator, our third-party administrator gets them in. However, we're anticipating that those increases will look very similar this year as they did to last year. So Those are just a few other things that are affecting the budget that Carrie does get from our office. However, she's absolutely right. She is considered a non-general fund department, which means she does not have any general fund allocation. However, when the Board of Commissioners approve the 2027 budget for the county, they are also approving the non-general fund budgets. So that's kind of the process, and we're looking to do that. We will have a formal presentation of all of the budgets to the Board of Commissioners in August. And, excuse me, in September. If any of my staff is listening, they just had a heart attack. In September, and hopefully, we were going to have an evening meeting in September. That has been changed, so we will look at formal adoption of the budget in early October for 2027. So hopefully that helps fill in some of those gaps that may have existed. Welcome.
Well, you're gonna make me ask a really weird question. So there's a data center up in Saline that they're building. Has anybody seen that thing? And it's costing something like $5 billion to put this data center. What does that do to a county where Saline is?
That will definitely impact the Saline County property values.
Yes, will they go up?
I'm not going to speak on behalf of Saline, the city, or
No, I'm just saying in general.
in general.
If you had a factory that came here,
Mhm.
they're gonna build new car parts here or something, what does that do?
So whenever you have a new build, whatever it's zoned, residential, commercial, industrial, whatever it happens to be zoned, you are going to see an increase in the revenue coming into the county based on property values and potentially from personal property,
Okay.
depending on how the things are, whatever that entity is and how it's being taxed. And then you also consider that usually when a big business goes like that, they want to know what kind of tax abatements they can get. So
Right.
there's those to consider, because a municipality may consider abating taxes for a certain amount of time in order to entice a business to come.
Mm.
So there's a whole lot of different things that could be a factor there, and I'm not sure what they have going on.
Okay.
in Saline.
Told you it was a weird question, but where we at here?
I think it's important to know also, as you ask about the millage, there's other pieces that are uncertain all the way around. Part of our funding sources are what do we have in contributions from participants or meal recipients? And so we guess on that to the best of our ability. Part of specifically Daybreak, but also meals, we're providing contracted services either through the My Choice Waiver Program or Tomei Pace, or we contract with a program out of Toledo that are providing meals in Lenawee County. And if we're doing that, we are also guessing on that. So we know that we have to do a regular review of where are we and are we getting ourselves in trouble? So please know that Becky and I meet every other Friday just to see where are we and what we are doing. So sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow and sometimes it's easy.
And the question is, with those expenses, trying to estimate like costs. I know the personnel makes a lot of sense, but I know there's a lot of expenses going up for the cost of food, the cost of gas, and the other things that go with a program like we have. And I was just wondering how that's affecting that budget as well.
We're good guessers. Yep, cost of food is increased. It's typically we'll look at the last year and then estimate what that looks like and how many numbers are we serving in any given program. This last year was a difficult year to use as our base for the next year with the new kitchen that has impacted a lot of our food and product changes. And so it's kind of a false hope piece to go on. We spent some funds that we wouldn't and didn't anticipate because We hadn't been in the new kitchen. We didn't know what we would need. And so there were some pieces to that that we've had to incur that hopefully we won't ever again, but that did impact us.
Go ahead.
Again, just gonna help you out a little bit here. When preparing a budget, whether it's the personnel or non-personnel, there's always the unknown. And specifically, the personnel is actually to some degree an easier entity to guesstimate because you know who has pay grade adjustments, what is the COLA gonna be, got an idea on what health insurance and all the benefits are going to be. But it's all the service contracts, the cost of food, the electricity, the things that you have mentioned that are always an unknown. So what we do is, Carrie has referenced it, you go back. We go back and we look at trending in order to guess forward. The real big thing that's different for this group is the centralized kitchen and what that looks like. And I think, to some degree, they're still working out what do those utility costs look like going forward. So we have that. So what they do is they do give it their best guess and estimate. The wonderful thing here is that they're also budgeting a contingency. And so what that means is if getting towards the end of the fiscal year, it looks like, oh, we underestimated what it's going to be. And if overall your budget is a little heavy on the expense versus the revenue, there can be what's called journal entries that can be made to make those line items correct as long as you have the contingency built in that will carry it. So if you can't get the exact amount, I guess that food's going to be $10. It turns out it came in 15. What do I do? Well, you have a contingency that you can move money from to cover that expenditure.
Yeah, I do understand that the budget is a really well-planned budget. I think that the job is very well done. I was just pointing out the fact that there, right now, is a lot of concerns about expenses that are above and beyond personnel. And that people are aware of that, and they need to know about that, and they need to understand that. Well, thank you for that.
Thank you, Ken.
I'd
Okay, we're in the middle of this. Go ahead, Bert.
like to make the point that when it comes to a budget, I don't approve that budget. I accept it. In other words, they're recommending this budget to us. We accept it, understanding that.
Okay,
Oh, I.
Good point.
accept that Budget, not approve it. That was.
yeah. Very good discussion. If there's not any, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to go back to my talking points angle, and that is that I think because as board members, our job is not that tough, but we do get asked questions out in the
Oh,
community.
yeah.
And so I like reminding them also that we have a huge amount of volunteer labor. And we're being very, very efficient with the money we're getting in. And the fact that minimum wage is going up, it impacts a lot of our staff. That means that we are not lavishly overpaying our staff as it is.
True.
And they work for a pretty modest income. The only other point is I'm waiting for those millions in marijuana dollars to come in, and maybe that'll help us out. So it's a sarcastic comment. You do not need to put that in the record.
Too late. It's just,
In there.
okay. I'm going to try this again. Is there any more discussion? We're going to go on to,
I do
okay,
have-
go ahead, Alan.
Carrie, as we get close to a year of going to the centralized kitchen, have we got any numbers as to the savings that we've had here as far as getting everybody on the same page, using the exact same materials here? Is there any
You know what?
information on?
It's not going to be a clear cut because, as I said, there were a lot of expenses that we didn't anticipate incurring as we got there and we got started and needed additional things. So it's not as clear as we'd hoped it would be. We have been monitoring that. I don't have a firm answer for you at this moment.
We'll keep an eye on it. Okay. We had the motion, we had a discussion. Where are we at? I think we're ready to vote. Okay, accepting the budget. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? And it passes. to the next item.
Thank you all. I have one more piece to share. In addition to preparing and working through the budget, it is also review time for our audit from Wellwise Services with regards to the Older Americans Act. We are actually reviewing fiscal year 2025. There's two parts to that. There's a desk review that we gather pieces, data, evidence that we have done what we said we would do and using those funds. And that piece is due July 31st. There's just a few little pieces that we need to refine yet, and that will be ready to submit. The other piece is that we have an in-person visit. We had that yesterday. And that piece, they actually look at things we can't send them, personnel records, client records, those types of things. That went over very well yesterday. There's always one or two things that you learn from those, even if you've done this for many years. So of course, there's a few pieces for us to refine as we go forward, but that's always a good growth piece. And so I look for that to be a very positive outcome at the end.
Okay. I have something to add. It's not on the agenda, but something's happened in the last couple of weeks that is very positive, and I want to bring it to the board's attention. Adrian Dominican Sisters, if none of you know, or maybe some of you don't know, but I am a part-time employee there. I am a driver for the transportation department. I've been doing it about 6 years. Last year in July, Aaron Dress, who's the Director of Human Resources, came to me and said, could we add Department on Aging onto our donor list? And I said, sure, go ahead. And the surprise was, and the surprise is, she contacted me a year later last week and said, I have a check for you. And would you like me to mail it, or would you like me to, can you take it in? And I said, I'll take it in. It turns out that this program is designated by the employees. And this is an employee-driven thing. So they pick a charity or they pick a nonprofit every year, and then they work and donate to that nonprofit. They can do things like raffles. They can do things like they have a number of items that goes on during the Weber Center out there, has a lot of business, and they'll sell things. They can also do a cash deposit. They can also do a payroll deduction. And so I'm kind of expecting, I didn't know that when she even asked me the question. She started to explain this to me last week. And then I took it to Carrie, we opened up the check, $7,700. Roughly, there's 300 employees out there. So I wanted to thank them. I want to publicly acknowledge our partnership and our relationship with this organization. And I want all my board members to know that. Adrian Dominican Sisters have been doing this for years. And we're not going to get it every year, but we are on their list. And I'm totally in shock that it came through that much. I was expecting, when she started talking to me, I was expecting $1,500, $1,000, something like that. I think you were too, weren't you?
Wait, and you plan on sending a thank you card? Wonder if we should have all the board, well, we'd have to wait.
I can't hear you. What'd you say?
I was gonna say, I wonder whether we should have the board members sign it, but we'd have to wait a month, so I don't know whether you wanna hold it up that long.
Oh, you can.
I just think, that would be.
I'm in there working with Erin. I run into her now and then. I don't know if everybody knows that place. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, they did the same thing with Reed Bicycle, Lenawee. We have a nonprofit bike shop that provides bikes.
Yeah.
Only they didn't tell us beforehand.
No, they didn't tell me.
One day they walked into our shop and said, here's a check.
Same
And
thing.
said, for the last year, we've been collecting money. And it was actually a little more than 7,000, so, but, unbelievable, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if the general public realizes this, and they do it on an annual basis.
Yeah.
So.
And I said, well, great, we want to, can I'm going to write a letter and have it published, so they didn't really want any recognition for it at all. So,
Well, I told Aaron that this would be here today. And this is a public thing, I believe. You can go online and see what we did today. Yeah, that's why I keep doing my tie the way I do my tie. So I am certain, knowing the sisters that are over there, there's 300 plus sisters in-house over there. I'm certain there's someone there that's going to watch this. So if you all want to wave to them, you could do that. But a letter would be fine. Yep. Okay, that's my bad. You got anything to say? Okay, where are we at? We're down to existing business, new business. We'll do those all at once. Is there existing business? Didn't think so. Is there new business? Nope. Public comment? Nope. Any board members want to say anything? I think it's been a long, go ahead. Casey?
I just want to say thank you for the van. I mean, that is really an excellent service, and it's always good to be the first in Michigan to do something like that. And I know it's going to serve all of our clients well. So truly, truly appreciate it. And thank you.
Anything else? Okay, motion for adjournment is in order.
In support.
Moved and supported. All those in favor say